My first yoga class ever was when I was 18. It was my first year of college at University of Oregon in Eugene, and I needed a one credit class, and there was a Kundalini yoga class listed on the schedule, and I thought, okay, I'll try that. And it was really transformative for me at a time when I was in a lot of physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual pain. My father had died suddenly the year before, and that was, of course, very traumatic, and I was really grieving deeply. And I had sort of been self medicating and escaping through, as a teenager, through intoxication, through drugs and alcohol. And I mean, it wasn't too bad, but I was, I was checking out, and I I also had chronic sinus infections. I'd had chronic sinus infections for a couple of years, and I had a lot of trouble breathing well through my nostrils. I was on and off of antibiotics regularly, and I was not feeling super great. And that Kundalini yoga class, which I don't know if you know, but it's really heavily focused on vigorous pranayam, vigorous breathing practices. And I was also very like inflexible. I wasn't I was not able to touch my toes. Like I was just a teenager. Like I didn't have a lot of, I wasn't really very all the way in my body. I mean, I like to move, but I wasn't like I am now. So I this class just changed my life. I mean, I was going 3 times a week. I think it was an hour and a half class, 3 times a week. I did that for a whole year. Actually, I think a little longer than a year. And um, I mean, it just radically changed my experience of my body. It was clearing up my sinuses. I was getting more flexible. I was feeling so much transformation. Like I had a new capacity around my emotions it helped me really process like a lot of my emotional content that I was going through with the grieving of my father's passing. It gave me wonderful structure at a time when I really needed it, like a physical practice. And yeah, and it made me feel so good that uh, I was letting go of a lot of the bad habits that I had picked up. I was naturally transitioning out of trying to self medicate, and I was finding that the yoga practice was much more compelling than the other routes that I was exploring. And I feel so fortunate to have had that beginning of yoga be so breath focused, breath and meditation. It changed my life, and I knew immediately that I had found a practice that I was going to do forever. Uh, it was my, it was my path for sure. And since then, the breath has just continued to develop for me. I became a breath fanatic, kind of. I was just fascinated by how the breath can change our physiological, mental, emotional states. Um, and I've just been a breath nerd ever since. And that's partly why I teach so much breath and breath work in all my classes, because it's fundamental to the um, to the holistic framework. Yeah, it's kind of it's the glue. It's the breath is the glue that binds all the pieces together, binds the mind body together. That's the bridge or the glue. So that's why where I got my start in focusing so deeply on the breath. And yeah, that's a little bit about that story. Lots more to tell, and I'm happy to keep sharing.